Marcus Chen walked through the busy marketplace on New Kepler Station. The old trading post buzzed with activity as always. Humans, aliens, and traders from across the galaxy filled the wide halls. Marcus needed supplies for his cargo ship. Nothing fancy, just food and fuel for his next run. He had been a Marine once. That was years ago, before he decided to haul cargo across the frontier. The work was honest and kept him away from politics. Marcus liked it that way. The first shot came from nowhere. A bright energy blast hit a fruit stand 10 feet away. The alien vendor screamed and dove for cover. Marcus dropped low, his old training kicking in. More shots followed, then shouting, then chaos. "Get down! Everyone get down!" someone yelled in standard. Marcus saw 3 groups of fighters. Human smugglers in dark clothes fired from behind shipping containers. Hegemony peacekeepers in blue uniforms shot back with military weapons. But there was a third group Marcus did not recognize. They wore black armor and moved like professionals. The marketplace turned into a war zone. Traders and shoppers ran in all directions. Some got caught in the crossfire. Marcus saw blood on the metal floor. Then he heard crying. It was soft at first, almost lost in the noise of battle. But Marcus had good ears. He looked around and saw something that made his stomach drop. A small alien child sat behind an overturned market stall. She was tiny, maybe the size of a human 3-year-old. Her skin had strange crystal patches that caught the light. Her large eyes were bright with fear and tears. Energy blasts flew over her head. One hit the wall behind her, leaving a smoking hole. The little girl pressed herself lower, shaking with terror. Marcus did not think. He just moved. He ran across the open space, keeping low. A shot missed his shoulder by inches. Another burned through his jacket sleeve. Marcus did not stop. He reached the child just as another blast hit where she had been sitting. "Hey there," he said softly, throwing his body over hers as more shots rang out. "You're okay. I got you." The child looked up at him with those huge eyes. She made musical sounds he could not understand. But fear was the same in any language. Marcus knew fear when he saw it. He pulled her behind a heavy cargo container. It was better cover. The thick metal would stop most energy weapons. Marcus checked the girl for injuries and found a small cut on her arm. Nothing serious, but it was bleeding. "This might sting," Marcus said, pulling out his first aid kit. He always carried one. Old habits. He cleaned the wound gently while the battle raged around them. The child whimpered, but did not pull away. She seemed to understand he was trying to help. "What's your name?" Marcus asked, knowing she probably would not understand. The girl made more musical sounds. Then she pointed to herself and said something that sounded like, "Zira." "Zira? That's a pretty name." "I'm Marcus." The shooting was getting closer. Marcus could hear heavy boots running past their hiding spot. Someone shouted orders in a language he did not know. Marcus put his arms around the small girl and held her close. If anyone wanted to hurt her, they would have to go through him first. That was just how he was built. The battle seemed to last forever, but it was probably only 20 minutes. Finally, the shooting stopped. Marcus heard the hegemony peacekeepers calling for medical teams and damage control. "Stay here," Marcus told Zira. He looked around the edge of their cover. The marketplace was a mess. Smoke filled the air. Bodies lay scattered around. But the fighting was over. "Zira, Zira," voices called in panic. 3 aliens ran into the marketplace. They looked like the little girl, but bigger. Adults. One was female, with the same crystal skin patches. She saw Marcus holding the child and rushed over. The woman spoke quickly in her own language. She was clearly upset and grateful at the same time. She checked Zira for injuries, then looked at Marcus with something like amazement. The other 2 aliens talked to the peacekeepers. Marcus noticed they tried to stay in the background. They seemed important, but did not want attention. The woman helped Zira stand. The little girl looked at Marcus and made more musical sounds. Then, she reached into a small bag and pulled out something tiny. It was a crystal pendant, carved with strange patterns. Zira pressed it into Marcus's hand and closed his fingers around it. She looked into his eyes and said one word in clear standard. "Thank you." Zira. 1. The woman spoke a few words in broken standard. You save her. We. Grateful. Very. Grateful. Before Marcus could respond, one of the male aliens hurried over. He spoke urgently to the woman. She nodded and picked up Zira. "Must go," the woman said to Marcus. "Dangerous here. But we not forget." They left quickly, disappearing into the crowds of emergency workers. Marcus stood alone in the ruined marketplace, holding the small crystal pendant. A hegemony officer approached him. "Sir, we need to ask you some questions about what you saw here." Marcus looked down at the crystal in his hand. It seemed to glow with soft inner light. "I just helped a scared kid. That's all." But somehow, Marcus knew it was not all. Somehow, he knew this was just the beginning. 3 days passed after the marketplace fight. Marcus went back to his normal work, hauling cargo between stations. But things felt different now. The little crystal pendant sat on his ship's control panel. Sometimes he thought he saw it glow when he was not looking directly at it. Marcus tried to forget about the incident, but he could not stop thinking about the scared little girl. Her face stayed in his mind. Those big, frightened eyes, the way she had trusted him completely. His ship, the Lucky Strike, was old but reliable. Marcus had bought her years ago after leaving the Marines. She was not much to look at, but she flew well and kept him fed. Right now, she was carrying medical supplies to a mining colony 2 days away. But New Kepler Station felt strange when he returned. Marcus noticed more hegemony patrols than usual. The peacekeepers walked in larger groups and checked IDs more often. Their faces were tense. At Murphy's bar, where Marcus usually ate dinner, the conversations were different too. People spoke in whispers and stopped talking when strangers came near. The bartender, an old man named Joe, looked nervous. "What's going on around here?" Joe glanced around before answering. "Been lots of important visitors lately. Diplomatic types. Real hush-hush stuff. Word is, there was some kind of incident in the marketplace a few days back." Marcus kept his face neutral. "Yeah? I heard there was shooting." "More than just shooting," Joe said quietly. "Rumor is it involved some very important people. The kind you don't want to mess with." Marcus ate his food and listened to the talk around him. Most of it was just gossip. But some things caught his attention. People mentioned diplomatic protocols and interspecies complications. Someone said the hegemony brass were very upset about something. After dinner, Marcus walked back to his ship. On the way, he passed a group of hegemony officers doing a cargo inspection. This was normal, but they were being more thorough than usual. They opened every container and scanned everything twice. "Looking for something specific?" Marcus asked one of the inspectors he knew. The man glanced around nervously. "Can't say much. But word from up top is we're supposed to find any unusual items, especially anything that might be alien tech." Marcus felt the weight of the crystal pendant in his pocket. He had moved it off his control panel that morning, just in case. Alien tech? That's pretty vague. "Yeah, well, that's all they told us. Just keep your eyes open for anything strange." Marcus nodded and continued to his ship. Inside, he pulled out the crystal pendant and looked at it carefully. It was beautiful work, with tiny patterns carved into its surface. But he could not tell if it was technology or just jewelry. The next morning, Marcus was loading supplies when his old friend Jake showed up. Jake was still in the Marines, stationed on New Kepler as a security advisor. They had served together years ago and stayed in touch. "Marcus, we need to talk," Jake said. His voice was serious. They went aboard the Lucky Strike for privacy. Jake looked around carefully before speaking. "There's been some very dangerous people asking questions about you," Jake said. "About the marketplace incident 3 days ago." Marcus felt cold. "What kind of questions?" "They want to know about the human who interfered. They've been showing pictures around. Security camera footage from the marketplace. The pictures show you helping someone, but the footage is corrupted. They can't see who you were helping." "Who's asking these questions?" Jake shook his head. "That's the problem. I don't know. They're not hegemony, but they have high-level clearance. They're also not local criminals. These are professionals, Marcus. The kind who make people disappear." Marcus sat down heavily. "I just helped a scared kid. That's all. Maybe that's all you think you did. But someone thinks it was more than that. Someone thinks you know something, or saw something important. What should I do?" Jake was quiet for a moment. "Be careful. Very careful. Don't go anywhere alone. Don't talk to strangers. And if anyone approaches you about that day, you don't know anything. You were just in the wrong place, at the wrong time." After Jake left, Marcus sat in his ship and thought. He pulled out the crystal pendant again. The little girl, Zira, had given it to him. Her family had seemed important, but they had tried to stay hidden. Now dangerous people were looking for him. Marcus realized his simple act of protecting a child had somehow gotten him involved in something much bigger. Something that involved diplomats and secrets, and people who made other people disappear. That night, as he tried to sleep, Marcus heard strange sounds outside his ship. Footsteps that stopped when he listened for them. Voices that went quiet when he moved. Someone was watching him. He checked his door locks twice and kept his old Marine sidearm close. Tomorrow, he would need to decide what to do. Stay and face whatever was coming. Or run, and hope they could not find him. But as he looked at the crystal pendant one more time before putting it away, Marcus knew running was not an option. Whatever he had gotten himself into by protecting that little girl, he would face it. That was just who he was. Marcus woke to screaming alarms. Red lights flashed in his ship's cabin as the proximity warning system went crazy. He rolled out of bed and stumbled to the control panel, still half asleep. What he saw outside made him fully awake in an instant. Space around New Kepler Station was filled with ships unlike anything Marcus had ever seen. They were not human designs or any alien ships in the hegemony database. These vessels looked almost alive, with smooth curves that seemed to bend light around them. They were beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The largest ship could have swallowed a hegemony battlecruiser whole. It hung in space like a sleeping giant, dark and silent. Smaller ships moved around it in perfect formation. Marcus's communication system crackled to life. A voice spoke in perfect standard, clear and calm. Marcus Chen of the vessel Lucky Strike. Marcus stared at the radio. How did they know his name? How did they know his ship? "This is Marcus Chen," he said carefully. "Who am I speaking to?" There was no answer. Instead, something impossible happened. Marcus felt his ship's controls go dead under his hands. The engines shut down. The navigation system displayed a message he had never seen before. External control. Engaged. Panic rose in Marcus's throat. His ship was being controlled by someone else, and there was nothing he could do about it. The technology required for this was far beyond anything humans possessed. Through his viewport, Marcus saw one of the smaller alien ships approaching. It moved with fluid grace, like a fish swimming through water instead of space. As it came closer, Marcus could see it was heading for his cargo bay. There was a soft thud as the alien ship attached itself to his hull. Marcus heard his airlock cycling, which should have been impossible. His security systems had not been activated. Somehow, the aliens had bypassed everything. Marcus grabbed his sidearm from the bedside drawer. It was an old Marine-issue pistol, reliable and simple. Against alien technology that could take over his ship from a distance, it probably would not help much. But it made him feel better. Heavy footsteps echoed through the cargo bay. 3 figures appeared at the entrance to Marcus's living area. They were tall, at least 7 feet, and moved with deadly grace. Their armor was black and seemed to absorb light. Marcus could hear the quiet hum of advanced technology. The leader stepped forward and removed her helmet. Marcus's breath caught in his throat. The alien was beautiful in a way that hurt to look at. Her features were similar to human, but refined. Perfect. Her skin had the same crystal patches as the little girl, but these seemed to glow with inner fire. Her eyes were large and golden, ancient and intelligent. "I am Fleet Commander Lythara of the Sovereignty," she said. Her voice was musical, like wind chimes. "You protected my daughter." The words hit Marcus like a physical blow. The little girl in the marketplace had not just been any alien child. She had been the daughter of someone with the power to command a fleet of ships that made human technology look like stone tools. "Your daughter?" Marcus managed to say. "Zira. 3 days ago, in the marketplace battle, you shielded her with your body. You treated her wounds. You gave her comfort when she was afraid." Marcus looked at the 2 other aliens flanking their commander. They had not moved. End of 42. The reek or speakers no, but he could feel the threat radiating from them. These were soldiers, probably the best their species had to offer. "She's okay?" Marcus asked. Something changed in Commander Lythara's expression. The coldness softened slightly. "She is well. She speaks of the brave human who protected her. She insisted I bring this to you." The commander reached into a pouch and pulled out another crystal pendant, larger than the one Zira had given him. "It is a symbol of honor among my people, rarely given to outsiders." Marcus accepted the pendant with shaking hands. "I just helped a scared kid. Anyone would have done the same." "No," Lythara said firmly. "Anyone would not have done the same. That is why we are here." The alien commander moved to Marcus's viewport and looked out at the space station. "The Sovereignty has been watching your species for some time, Marcus Chen. We observe many young civilizations as they develop. Most disappoint us." "Disappoint you how?" "They are selfish, cruel. They think only of themselves and their own kind. When faced with danger, they abandon the weak to save themselves." Marcus felt a chill. "And humans? Humans are different. You do things that make no logical sense. You risk everything to help strangers. You fight impossible odds to protect those who cannot protect themselves. It is foolish and beautiful and rare in this galaxy." Commander Lythara turned back to face him. "My daughter was on a secret mission. Marcus Chen, the Sovereignty needed to understand if humans were ready to join the greater galactic community, or if they needed to be contained for the safety of others." The word "contained" made Marcus's blood run cold. Contained how? Restricted to your home system. Cut off from the rest of the galaxy until you mature as a species. It has been done before. Marcus realized the full scope of what was happening. The marketplace battle. That wasn't random, was it? No. There are those who wish humans harm. They discovered Zira's presence and attempted to capture her. They wanted to study sovereignty biology, learn our weaknesses. If they had succeeded, it would have been war, Marcus finished. Yes, a war your people could not win, a war that would have ended with human extinction. The cargo bay fell silent except for the hum of alien technology. Marcus felt the weight of the moment. His simple act of protecting a frightened child had somehow prevented a war between species. "So what happens now?" Marcus asked. Commander Lythara's expression became unreadable again. "That depends on you, Marcus Chen. The crisis is not over. The enemies who tried to capture my daughter are still out there. They know the sovereignty exists now. They will use this knowledge to cause more problems. What do you need me to do? The same thing you did 3 days ago. Protect the innocent. But this time, the innocent includes every human in the galaxy." Marcus looked out at the alien ships surrounding the station. Each one probably had enough firepower to destroy a planet. The responsibility was overwhelming. Why me? Why not work with the hegemony government directly? Because governments think about politics and advantage. You think about what is right. Zira saw your true nature in those few minutes. You acted without thought of reward or consequence. That is what we need now. Commander Lythara moved toward the airlock. "We will be watching, Marcus Chen. The next few days will determine the future of your species. I hope you are ready." As the aliens prepared to leave, Marcus called out, "Wait. How will I know what to do?" The commander paused at the entrance to his cargo bay. "You will know. When the time comes, you will do what humans do best. You will protect those who need protection, no matter the cost." After they left, Marcus sat alone in his ship, surrounded by a fleet of alien vessels that could end human civilization, with a thought. In his hand, he held 2 crystal pendants, one from a grateful child, one from her powerful mother. Somehow, protecting one scared little girl had made him responsible for the fate of his entire species. Marcus looked out at the stars and wondered if he was strong enough for what was coming. Commander Lythara did not leave the system. Her ship remained hidden in the asteroid field outside New Kepler Station. She contacted Marcus again the next day, her image appearing on his communication screen like a ghostly hologram. "We must speak in person," she said. "There are things you need to understand before it is too late." Action. This time, only the commander came aboard. She moved through Marcus's small ship with fluid grace, her golden eyes taking in every detail. She seemed both curious and sad. "Your vessel is crude but functional," she observed. "It reflects human nature well." "Thanks, I think," Marcus said. "You wanted to explain something?" Lythara sat across from him at his small table. Up close, her alien beauty was even more striking, but Marcus could see weariness in her ancient eyes. "The situation is more complicated than I first told you," she began. "My people, the sovereignty, have existed for thousands of your years. We have seen civilizations rise and fall. We have watched species destroy themselves and others through greed and hatred." She paused, staring out the small viewport. "We learned long ago that the galaxy is not safe when young species develop space travel without wisdom. So we watch. We test. We decide who may join the community of civilized worlds and who must be contained." "And humans are being tested?" Marcus said. "Yes, but the test was compromised." Lythara's expression hardened. The attack in the marketplace was not random. It was arranged by a group of humans who discovered our presence. They call themselves the Terra Liberation Front. Marcus frowned. "I've never heard of them. They are few in number but well-funded and dangerous. They believe humanity should take what it wants from the galaxy by force. They see other species as threats to be eliminated or resources to be exploited. What do they want with your daughter?" "They wanted to capture her alive, to study sovereignty biology, to learn our weaknesses and develop weapons that could kill us." Lythara's voice grew cold. "They planned to dissect her like a laboratory specimen." Marcus felt sick. The thought of anyone hurting the sweet little girl he had protected made his hands clench into fists. "These Terra Liberation people," he said, "they're still out there?" "Yes. And they now know the sovereignty exists. They know we have been watching humanity. This knowledge makes them incredibly dangerous. Lithara stood and walked to the viewport. They have allies within your hegemony government. Corrupt officials who share their views about alien species. Together, they plan to use evidence of our presence to start a war. A war they can't win, Marcus pointed out. No. But they believe they can force us to destroy humanity, then use that as proof that aliens are humanity's enemies. They want to make your species afraid and angry. They want to turn humans into conquerors. Marcus began to understand. They're willing to sacrifice everyone to get what they want. Yes, and there is worse news. The Sovereignty Council has learned of these complications. They are not pleased. What does that mean? Lithara turned back to face him. It means they want to end this test immediately. They want to contain humanity before these extremists can cause more problems. The words hit Marcus like ice water. Contain us how? Destroy your space stations. Disable your ships. Force humanity back to Earth and keep you there. Forever. Marcus stared at her. You're talking about the end of human expansion into space. The end of our future among the stars. Yes. And you agree with this? For a long moment, Lithara said nothing. Then she spoke quietly. I saw what you did for my daughter. You risked your life for a stranger because it was right. That is not common in the galaxy, Marcus Chen. Most species only protect their own kind. But one good human does not speak for your entire species. The Council needs proof that humanity as a whole deserves freedom. Marcus felt the weight of responsibility crushing down on him. What kind of proof? The Terra Liberation Front has taken hostages on New Kepler Station. They demand that all aliens reveal themselves and surrender for processing. They claim they have bombs planted throughout the station. If their demands are not met, they will kill everyone aboard. How many hostages? 3,000 civilians. Men, women, children of a dozen different species. Marcus closed his eyes. They're using innocent people as bait. Yes, they want to force the sovereignty to reveal ourselves and fight them. They believe the resulting violence will turn all humans against alien contact. Lithara's voice was bitter. They may be right. What do you want me to do? The Sovereignty Council has given me permission to offer humanity one final test. You may attempt to resolve this crisis. If you succeed in protecting the innocent without starting a war, the Council will allow humanity to remain free. And if I fail? Then humanity will be contained. Your species will never leave your solar system again. Marcus stood and walked to his weapons locker. His old marine gear was still there, cleaned and maintained out of habit. Just me? Against trained terrorists with bombs and hostages? You will not be alone. I will provide what assistance I can. But the Council insists that humans must solve this human problem. If sovereignty forces intervene directly, it proves that humanity cannot handle the responsibilities of galactic citizenship. Marcus pulled on his tactical vest and checked his weapons. The familiar weight of military gear felt strange after years of civilian cargo hauling. But his hands remembered the motions. There's something I don't understand, he said, as he prepared. Why did your people really send your daughter on this mission? Testing human reactions seems like something you could do without risking a child. Lithara was quiet for so long that Marcus thought she would not answer. Finally, she spoke. Zira volunteered. She heard the debates in the Council about humanity's fate. She wanted to see for herself what humans were really like. The alien commander's voice became soft. She believed that any species capable of creating art and music and stories must have goodness in them somewhere. And after the marketplace? After the marketplace, she told the Council that humans have something most advanced species have lost. You have the courage to do what is right, even when it is dangerous. Even when it is foolish. 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 Marcus finished checking his gear. I hope she's right about us. So do I, Marcus Chen. So do I. As Marcus prepared to leave his ship, Lithara handed him a small device. What is this? A communication device. When you are ready to act, contact me. I will do what I can to help without violating the Council's restrictions. Marcus clipped the device to his belt. Commander? If this goes wrong, if humanity fails this test, what happens to people like Zira? The ones who believe in us? Lithara's golden eyes met his. They will have to live with the knowledge that they were wrong about your species. It will break their hearts. Marcus nodded grimly. The stakes could not be higher. The freedom of humanity, and the faith of a little alien girl who believed in human goodness, both rested on what he did next. New Kepler Station was in chaos when Marcus arrived. Emergency lights flashed red along the docking bays. Security barriers blocked most access points. Hegemony peacekeepers stood guard with nervous expressions and heavy weapons. Marcus found Jake in the Security Command Center, coordinating with station personnel. His old friend looked exhausted and angry. Marcus. Thank God you're here. This situation is completely messed up. Jake pulled up a holographic display of the station. The terrorists have taken over the main civilian areas. They've got bombs planted in at least 6 locations, and they're demanding the impossible. What exactly do they want? All non-human residents to report for registration and processing. They claim there are dangerous alien infiltrators on the station. Anyone who refuses gets shot, and they'll detonate the bombs if we try to storm them. Marcus studied the display. Red zones marked areas under terrorist control. How many hostages? Nearly 3,000 civilians. Families, traders, station workers. The terrorists have them locked in the main plaza and the shopping district. Jake's voice was grim. Marcus, these aren't random criminals. They're well-trained and well-equipped. Military-grade weapons, professional tactics. The Terra Liberation Front, Marcus said. Jake stared at him. How do you know that name? That's classified information. It's complicated. What's their leader like? Calls himself Colonel Harrison. Former Hegemony Special Forces. Dishonorably discharged for excessive violence against alien civilians. He's smart, ruthless, and completely insane. Marcus activated the communication device Lithara had given him. Commander, I'm at the station. What can you tell me about the bomb locations? Lithara's voice came through clearly, though Jake could not hear it. Sovereignty sensors detect 6 explosive devices, large enough to destroy entire sections of the station. They are crude, but effective human explosives. Can you disable them remotely? Not without revealing our presence. But I can guide you to them once you are inside the terrorist-controlled areas. Jake was looking at Marcus strangely. Who are you talking to? A friend with good intelligence sources, Marcus said. It was not exactly a lie. Jake? I need 3 volunteers. People who know the station layout and are willing to risk their lives. For what? We can't assault those positions. Too many civilians will die. We're not going to assault them. We're going to outsmart them. Marcus explained his plan. It was risky, maybe impossible, but it was the only option that did not involve massive loss of life. Jake listened with growing amazement. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard, Jake said when Marcus finished. It might actually work. They found their volunteers quickly. Sarah Martinez, a station engineer who knew every maintenance tunnel and service corridor. Tom Wu, a former marine explosives expert who had retired to civilian security work. And Dr. Elena Vasquez, a xenobiologist who had treated alien patients for years and spoke several non-human languages. The plan is simple, Marcus told them as they gathered in a storage room. We split into 2 teams. Jake and Tom will handle the bombs. Sarah and Dr. Vasquez will help evacuate civilians. I'll deal with the terrorists directly. How exactly do you plan to deal with trained killers with hostages? Sarah asked. Marcus smiled grimly. By giving them exactly what they think they want. The maintenance tunnels were cramped and dark, but they allowed movement through the station without being detected. Marcus crawled through spaces barely wide enough for his shoulders, following Sarah's whispered directions. There's an access panel up ahead, Sarah said through their comm system. It opens into the main plaza service area, right behind the terrorists' position. Marcus reached the panel and carefully opened it. He could hear voices on the other side. Colonel Harrison was giving orders to his men. Remember, we need this to look good for the cameras. When the aliens reveal themselves, we respond with overwhelming force. Make it clear that humanity is under attack. Artie. Noted. Marcus activated his communicator. Commander, are you monitoring this? Yes. They plan to broadcast the violence across human space. They want to create fear and hatred. Then we give them a show they won't expect. Marcus squeezed through the access panel into a storage room. Through a crack in the door, he could see the main plaza. Hundreds of civilians sat on the floor under armed guard. Men, women, children of many species, all terrified and confused. At the center of the plaza stood Colonel Harrison. He was a tall man with cold eyes and military bearing. He held a detonator in one hand and a weapon in the other. Attention, station residents, Harrison announced through a loudspeaker. You have 1 hour to identify and surrender all alien infiltrators among you. Anyone found hiding non-human identity will be shot. After 1 hour, we will begin executing hostages until our demands are met. Marcus checked his equipment one more time. Then, he activated his communicator. Commander, I'm going in. When I give the signal, I need you to do something that will look impressive, but not actually hurt anyone. What do you have in mind? Trust me. Marcus stepped out of the storage room into the plaza. He walked calmly toward the center, his hands visible but ready to move. The terrorists spotted him immediately. Stop right there, one of them shouted. Identify yourself. I'm the one you're really looking for, Marcus said loudly, ensuring his voice carried across the plaza. The one who's been in contact with the aliens. Colonel Harrison turned to face him, his cold eyes lighting up with interest. Marcus Chen. Yes, we've been looking for you. You're the one who interfered with our operation in the marketplace. That's right. I protected an alien child from your people. Harrison smiled cruelly. How noble. But you're too late to save these people. Unless you can produce the alien infiltrators we know are here, they're all going to die. Marcus looked around the plaza at all the frightened faces. Human, alien, young, old, all innocent, all depending on him. You want to see aliens? Marcus said. Fine. He activated his communicator. Commander, now. The lights in the plaza suddenly dimmed. Then a figure materialized in the air above the crowd, shimmering like a hologram, but clearly three-dimensional. Commander Lythera appeared in her full alien majesty, golden eyes blazing, crystal skin patches glowing with inner fire. The crowd gasped. Some screamed. The terrorists raised their weapons in confusion. I am Commander Lythera of the Sovereignty, the figure announced. You have threatened innocent civilians under my protection. This ends now. Harrison laughed harshly. A hologram! You think you can frighten us with special effects? Not a hologram, Marcus said. But not here physically either. She's broadcasting from her ship, the same ship that could turn this entire station into space dust if she wanted. You're bluffing. Marcus activated another function on his communicator. Outside the station's windows, space suddenly filled with lights as Sovereignty ships decloaked. They had been there all along, invisible and waiting. The effect on the crowd was immediate. Some civilians cheered, others wept with relief. The terrorists looked uncertain for the first time. But Harrison was not easily intimidated. Impressive. But we still have the bombs. One signal from me and thousands die. Actually, came Tom Wu's voice over the comm system. You don't. Marcus smiled. My friends have been busy while we've been talking. Your bombs have been disarmed. All of them. Harrison's face turned red with rage. He raised his detonator and pressed the button. Nothing happened. He pressed it again. Still. Nothing. Impossible. Tom Wu, explosives expert, retired Marine. He knows his business. Marcus began walking slowly toward Harrison. It's over, Colonel. Your plan failed. No. Harrison raised his weapon toward the crowd. If I can't have my war, I'll settle for a massacre. Marcus dove forward just as Harrison fired. The energy blast meant for innocent civilians hit Marcus in the shoulder, spinning him around but not stopping him. He crashed into Harrison, and they both went down fighting. The other terrorists hesitated, confused by their leader's capture and the failure of their bombs. In that moment of uncertainty, Jake's security team moved in. The fight was brief and one-sided. As medics treated Marcus's wound, Commander Lethara's image approached him. You took a weapon blast meant for civilians. Part of the job, Marcus said, wincing as the medic worked. Are the hostages safe? Actional side. Wincing actional side. Wincing actional side. Actional side. Wincing actional side. 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 All safe. No civilian casualties. Lithara paused. The Sovereignty Council monitored everything. They saw humans risk their lives to protect aliens. They saw you take a weapon blast meant for innocence. They saw your people work together to save everyone, regardless of species. And humanity has passed the test. The Sovereignty recognizes humans as a protected species. Anyone who would harm humans must answer to us. The plaza erupted in cheers. Humans and aliens embraced each other with relief and joy. Marcus saw Dr. Vasquez helping an injured Centaurian child. He saw Jake coordinating with alien security officers to process the captured terrorists. But it was a small figure running through the crowd that made Marcus smile despite his pain. Zira broke free from her escort and ran to Marcus, her crystal patches glowing with happiness. Marcus, you saved everyone, just like you saved me. Commander Lithara materialized more solidly, no longer just a projection. She knelt beside her daughter and looked at Marcus with something like wonder. In a galaxy full of ancient, careful civilizations, only humans still have the courage to protect strangers at any cost. That is not a weakness to be contained. That is a strength we had forgotten we needed. Marcus looked around at the mixed crowd of humans and aliens, working together to help the injured and restore order. So, what happens now? Now humanity takes its place among the stars as a full member of the galactic community. The Sovereignty will share technology, knowledge, protection. In return, we ask only that humans continue to be what they are. And what's that? Lithara smiled, the expression transforming her alien features into something warm and almost human. The species crazy enough to throw themselves into harm's way to protect anyone who needs protection. The galaxy is a dangerous place, Marcus Chen. We need guardians who care more about doing what is right than doing what is safe. As station personnel began the long work of cleaning up after the crisis, Marcus sat with little Zira and watched humans and aliens working side by side. The future was uncertain. But for the first time in his life, Marcus felt like humanity had found its true purpose among the stars. Not as conquerors or explorers, but as protectors of anyone who needed protection. It was a good purpose, Marcus thought. Maybe the best purpose of all.